Good day to you. This is review sheet 5.1 to 5.3 for the quiz coming up. Let's start by looking at question 1. Question 1 states that angle 1 is 2x minus 20. Angle 2 is 3x plus 10. We want to find x in the measure of angle 3. Well, you could see that these lines are parallel by the markings on the picture. So these are exterior angles, and they're on the same side, so they're consecutive exterior, which means they are supplementary, which means we can set 3x plus 10 plus 2x minus 20 equal to 180. 5x minus 10 is equal to 180. 5x is equal to 190. So x equals 38, and that agrees with the answer in the answer column. To find the measure of angle 2, you know it's the same as angle 1 because they are alternating exterior. So we can plug it into 2 times 38 minus 20, and the measure of angle 3 ends up equaling 56 degrees. Number 2, 1 plus 3 equals 70. Well, because these are parallel lines, you know these are alternating exterior. That means they are congruent to each other. Alt exterior angles congruent. So we can take 170 divided by 2, giving me 85 for each one of, each one of these. Well, angle 2, so we'll take 180 because 1 and 2 are supplementary, minus 85, leaving me with 95 for the measure of angle 2. All right. Number 3 looks like an indirect proof. We got circle O. Circle O is going to give us the two radii OA and OC congruent. It's an indirect proof, so we are going to assume what we need to prove. That means we're assuming that it is the bisector of AOC, causing angle 1 and angle 2 to be congruent to each other. Our goal is to prove that this is an altitude, so we'll call this 3 and 4, and we know reflexive property here, so we can prove these by side, angle, side. First one from circle O, we got reason 1, AO is congruent to OC. We got that we assume that OB bisects angle AOC, which gives us reason 2, angle 1 congruent to angle 2. And then from the diagram, reason 3, OB is congruent to OB. Put this together, 4. We got triangle AOB congruent to triangle COB. And then from there, we can prove angle 3 congruent to angle 4 by CPCTC, which then gives us OB is perpendicular to AC, which then we finish and say OB is an altitude, which, there, contradiction. So the proof contradicts. That's right. Contradicts that OB is not an altitude. Therefore, OB does not bisect angle AOC. We need our reasons. Reason 1 was all radii congruent. Reason 2, definition of angle bisector. Reason 3, reflexive. 4, side angle side. 5, CPCTC. 6, if two angles sup and congruent, then perpendicular. And 7, definition of altitude. Hopefully that went all right. There will be one indirect proof on tomorrow's quiz. Question 4, we know that FA is parallel to DE. These are parallel. We know FA is congruent to DE. We also know that AB, this little piece, is congruent to here. Our goal is to prove F and E congruent. Well, we know this piece is reflexive. We can add it to be there. Parallel lines will give you angles congruent. So we could got side, we have another side, so we need angles. So we can have this angle here, A, and this angle here, D. If you look at the picture, here's the lines. They're in between them, so it's inside, and they're alternating, so it's alternating interior. So how are we going to prove these two triangles? This one is also side angle side. One of the sides is FA is congruent to DE. The angle comes from FA is parallel to DE. Therefore, reason 1 gave us angle A congruent to angle D. And then we have AB being congruent to CD using, from the diagram, reason 2, the reflexive, BC being congruent to BC. We'll add them together, reason 3, AC being congruent to BD. All three of these give us that triangle AFC is congruent to triangle DEB. And therefore, by CPCTC, angle F is congruent to angle E. Reason 1, if parallel, then alternating interior angles congruent. 2 was reflexive. 3, addition. 4, side angle side. And 5 ends with CPCTC. Moving on, number 6. Ooh, my favorite kind of questions, the crook problems. How many crooks do we see? 1, 2 bends, so we draw in 2 parallel lines. Remember, these does not break them into halves, so do not do them in halves. X is in the middle, so we have to work both ways. We have to work this way and this way. If 20 is here, we cross over the line, so 20 is here. This was 50 degrees here, so this 20, this completes it to make 30. 30 is here, we cross over, so the bottom half of X is 30. Now we look at this angle, we work our way down 140. These two are consecutive interiors, so they're supplementary. 180 minus 140 gives me 40. So X, the measure, ends up equaling 70 degrees. Excellent. Which lines are parallel? We don't know that these lines are parallel or not, so we have to figure out which lines are parallel. This only has one marking. M only has one marking. P has 2 markings. What do we know? These two angles are vertical angles, so we can set 8x minus 48 equal to 4x plus 24 minus 4x over. Add 48 this way. So these cancel out, so we get 4x over here. Set that equal to, we get 72 divided by 4. X ends up equaling 18. Want to find which lines are parallel, so we'll plug it back in. When we plug it back in here, we do 6 times 18, and then we're going to minus 16 from that. We get 92. When we have this angle right here, that's 3 times 18 plus 42. We get 96. And then we got 4 times 18, and then we're going to add 24, giving me 96. So this angle is corresponding to this angle, is corresponding to this angle, but these two aren't congruent. These two are, so we know that angle, that P and M end up being parallel to each other. And question 7, last but not least, we know that these are parallel. So QW is parallel to TR. So this side is parallel to this side. In the first question, there's the transversal. So 1 and 2 are always parallel, are always congruent because they're alternating interior. In 2, if QT this time, let me change colors. QT is parallel to RW, and 1 and 2 are congruent. Well, we know that 3 and 4 are congruent for sure. These two possibly can be congruent. You don't know that because if these two sides are parallel, then it's a parallelogram, but we don't know that, so it could happen. So this ends up being sometimes, like it says in the answer column. It would be more of a no than, than anything, but there could be a possibility that it could happen. See if 1 and 2 are congruent. You know QT and WR or parallel. Well, no, that's the opposite of this, so that would still be sometimes because you don't know that for sure. But if 3 and 4 are congruent, WR and QT are parallel. That is a fact. So we have that. So that ends up being always. All right. So that's the review sheet for you. Other things you want to review are, all the reasons to the proofs, all the reasons that we went over. There was 12 of them. It was 6 ideas, but there was 12 of them total. Um, and be familiar with, like we said, the crook problems, the parallel line ideas, and doing them in a proof. You should be fine with the indirect. Otherwise, good luck to you, and good night.